Hello, welcome to the Hustle Continues podcast. I'm the Mighty San Quinn.
And it's Wayne Hayes, and it gives me great honor and privilege to bring one of our homeboys from San Francisco's Fillmore District to the show. Welcome, Gunna Goes Global.
Man, Gunna Goes Global. Gunna, man, my God, what's up with you, baby? What's up with the Gunna, man? All right, okay.
I'm in the house with the legend, you feel me, with the icon, one of the biggest to ever come up out of the city and county, man, one of the biggest to ever come up out of the state. Can't understate how important his music has been and influence has been to my career and my existence, man. So I gotta make sure y'all know I'm just an icon.
Come on, man.
Good, man.
I'll let you
And brother, so proud of what you're doing for the community and what you're doing in the community.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that coming from you. A great thinker. When I peep your movement and pay attention to what it is that you do, you are one of one. You know, guys like us that are sitting and assembled here at this table, we are rare. So the way that you think, some of your decisions that you've made for your life and your career, I paid attention to it, and that's what we have you here. The mantra of the Hustle Continues podcast is about resilience. Someone who's never given up. And we took that off one of San Quinn's albums, and we decided to make it be the core value system of what we do here. So you fit that bill, so we wanted to elaborate on that.
You always represent Fillmore right when I know that wherever he's at, they will not misrepresent him. Like I am, like how you are.
Right.
That's it, without a doubt. When I see the Gunna, what you say on the song, she would want to give you people.
I say a whole lot, man. I got a bunch of songs like you, man. So let me know.
And what's the one where you said she should be choosing, she would want to do that.
She want to be my boyfriend. They all do.
They all do, yeah. They all do. They just want to get down with these niggas, man. Yeah, excuse my French.
So when I think about your story and your trajectory, one of the most unique things about you that makes you who you are and that you don't shy away from is the fact that you're multicultural, almost multiracial, if that's a word. Not multiracial, but just your dad is from Honduras.
Yeah, for sure.
How has that impacted your life?
Huge. Growing up, Pop sent for me. I would go to Honduras in the summer and just seeing poverty in an extreme form. So, coming up in the mode, coming up in the city, even living in the town, right? Poverty is food stamp. Right? Poverty is Section 8. Poverty is low income.
Project or something.
You feel me? Well, when you go to Honduras, you got everything, or you got nothing. So I done seen my cousins playing soccer naked, but it happened. So financial poverty, naked, but it happened. And when I say my cousin, I'm talking about 6'8", 6'7", 8", but they don't understand that they're in financial poverty, so they rich in spirit. Right. You know what I'm saying? So how it affected me early on is I just never made any excuses. I never complained, no matter how fucked up my situation was. I would go back and remember that it's people who literally, it ain't no help. You got to pick yourself up or you're going to die in those circumstances. So that has influenced me immensely. My father being an immigrant, his mentality always been like, you got to get it, there ain't no excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you hurt, you acknowledge that, but you got to keep going because it ain't no pressure. It ain't no welfare. It ain't no government. It ain't no help. You feel me? So that's my mentality to this day.
Yeah, because with the assistance, not to cut you off, about with governmental assistance over here, we kind of got it good. We talking about the poverty. Really, this is good living. This would be great living for
compared to those who don't have it. And that's why when you see people migrate over here with this mentality, it's like, bro, we finna get on this flight, we finna get on this boat, or we finna cross these borders for a purpose. A lot of us over here, it's not that we can't. It's just that we're not informed about what we could do, what we can do, and then those of us who are tend to excel. But it's also systematic, to keep us down when we over here, to keep us up with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, without a doubt. We be lazy, we don't. You see what I mean? We don't. Like we said, we can, but some of us just don't. do nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, and after working for like 200-300 years for free, you know, we deserve a break. So all my brothers and sisters out there, you know, that's chilling. The hustle does continue at the same time, man. We're not gonna, you know what I mean?
Not gonna rest on our Lord.
And it's levels to this shit, and I think that based on your exposure to those levels is what it plays a huge role in what decision you might make around getting it or not.
Right.
Because if you ain't never seen what real struggle or real poverty looks like, you'll just think, you know, you can rest on your laurels.
It's easy to take stuff for granted again. Like my grandmother, she migrated from Owensboro, Kentucky. That's on my maternal side. So my grandmother, rest her soul, Mary Alice, she went to Treasure Island first. Then she went to the Banneker home to raise 6 children by herself. You feel me? So I also come from seeing that. My grandmother ain't making no excuses, and I'm pretty sure she cried alone in the room, but day in and day out, she was able to provide, whether it be rice and beans with cornbread, or whether it be, you know, a little bit of extra chicken, or whatever the case may be. But it was all about being persistent, being consistent, and not making no excuses.
Right. Another thing that I wanted to ask you in regards to your Honduran heritage was, is there a level of racism in that? Obviously, I suspect that your dad is a dark-skinned.
Darker than me and you.
Correct.
Darker than all
so he's a dark-skinned Honduran, but when I think Honduran, I'm thinking about the ones that be in the L's getting money and things of that nature. They're not dark. They're not black, so to speak. So is there racism within y'all culture that way?
For sure. It's called, you got classism over there, and then you've got colorism. So Garifuna people are the people who got on the boat, they were taken on the boat during slavery, took over the boat, set up shop, right? So Garifuna people or Garinga people speak the language. They tend to be on the outskirts of Honduras. So if you ain't by the water, you ain't gonna know it's black people in there. And then when they go to Tegucigalpa, San Sula, La Ceiba, which is all cities in Honduras, yeah, you're gonna run across some Garifuna people, right? Dr. Seppi been out there, my pop's been knowing them. But out there, after one of my, I believe it was my great grandfather, he migrated out here. He happened to help a man who was in need, and that man who was in need happened to be in the military, and that man in the military was able to open the door and pave the way for a lot of Garifuna people to leave Honduras by way of San Francisco, the Bay Area, LA, and New York. So to answer what you're saying, colorism is huge once you get to Central America, but money trumps everything. So when you get off a plane out there, they're gonna already know you having chicken. And when you having chicken, everybody gonna interact with you differently, right? But people will have babies with a lighter skinned person. Over there they call Indios. So Indios are the Honduran people who bred with the Spaniards. For those who don't know, people in Central and South America, they are direct descendants of the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, so forth and so on. It was the Spaniards, Cortez, who came over there, brought disease and brought his culture, which is why they speak in Spanish right now. But they still got their Spanish ways, and their Spanish ways is to look down on everything that ain't European. So here, when you get to Honduras, you gonna see people that's acting funny. No different than when you get to Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. All of these people tend to not understand it, but the Spaniards don't fuck with us like that. But you do have those who are able to say, hey, I was raised with black people, Garifuna people, so it's good. But yeah, you go up here, so this is a bunch of funny acting shit, man. For real.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just said a whole bunch, but yeah, to answer your question.
No, this is an educational piece today. I love when we are able to bring another level of insight that reaches beyond just the boundaries of our culture.
For sure.
But at the same time,
that
it's
is
all our culture.
That's right. If you hadn't brought it up, I would have never mentioned it, because what they also try to do is discredit my blackness. I'm raised by a black woman, a black community, black father, black everything, right? Yeah, 1,000%. But what they'll do is they'll try to put these labels on you of, oh, you're Honduran, you're Dominican, you're Puerto Rican. All them folks is black. Oh, you from Trinidad, you from here, but we still
Haiti.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And they do that to try to undermine the greatness of what blacks have built in the United States of America. Because shout out to the continent of Africa, the motherland, and shout out to everybody throughout.
Or to break up the diaspora, which if the diaspora is acting and active together,
And understand our culture here is rich. Understand that black people in America are the face, the heart, the mind of the modern liberation post-slavery. You gotta understand, and I understand in Haiti, they was the first to revolt. You look at the thinkers that come from the United States of America, we continue to inspire the world. So they be like, oh, what is black culture? Black culture is everything. We take the best of and we make it even better. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I never mentioned in the interviews because again, if not you, they'll try to, oh, you Honduran, man. No, ain't no police officer gonna see me and be like, you from Honduras. Nah, they gonna say, oh, that's a black dude.
Right.
The N-word, the ER.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've established that you're a young boy growing up in San Francisco,
For sure.
and you have an exposure to dual cultures.
Facts.
How does that affect you?
It's confusing early on because English is a third language on my paternal side. So when you go over there, my grandmother didn't speak English or Spanish. She only spoke Garifa. My government name is a Garifa name, right? When you go outside, you're like, I'm going to Honduras. They're like, oh, okay, what part of Africa you going to? And I'm like, nah, but it ain't Africa. That's by Mexico. You feel me? By Guatemala and El Salvador. They're like, oh, you're black Mexican. So growing up, if there's nobody there to explain to you this multiculturalness, you're not going to be able to articulate it. And once you're not able to articulate it, you're going to shy away from it, which is what I did. So I didn't even mention it. Unless you came to my dad's side of the family, you would never know nothing about Honduras. And I got to the point where I stopped speaking Spanish, you feel me? And then I shied away from Garifa. But I didn't realize until I got older that it was an advantage. But that's what happened early on. So I was like, well, I'm not Mexican, bro. Like, what you talking about?
Yeah.
It seems like the influence.
But you can talk to the plug, though. Yeah, sure. We get that part.
It seems like it's been a systematic kind of vice, to whereas one would shy away from or hide any other like in your case it was having another aspect of you as a cultural thing, right?
For sure.
For me, it was shying away from being smart.
Normal.
Right? Like I'm smart, I'm in all these gifted classes, but I'm gonna be a little tougher, I'm gonna play a little dumber around certain populations because that don't qualify with them.
Right.
But this is a systematic thing that
it should
make you fall into a trap of not being your best self.
Right.
Instead of using all these tools and walking around with a belt with hella tools on it, you emptying your tool belt just to assimilate.
Sure. You definitely got to be informed. And when you don't know, you don't know. Coming up, it wasn't a conversation I had with my parents, my family. It was just something I took on my own to do. But I can't say all of my partners, when they would come to my dad's side of the family, they'd be like, bro, why you didn't tell us? Or this, that, and I'm like, man, because hey, when we were 4th and 5th grade trying to explain this shit, it get exhausting. And then, you know, niggas always captain and stuff like that. That's normal. But after a while, I was just like, bro, I'm not going to say about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Until I got older.
You first generation off the ship outside?
On my paternal side,
yeah.
On my mom's side, we like
Cause I'm like that too. Yeah, like I'm first one to come outside. You know
oh, yeah, I know. Like my older brother, Armand, unfortunately, he got life. He's the one who paved the way for me to come outside and film it, actually.
Yeah, free Armand, man.
Okay. So speaking of getting locked up, so you've migrated. I mean, your family has migrated. You're being raised. You had to figure out a way to assimilate and blend in and push and pull your truths, and then you outside. What part of where was you at?
I jumped off the porch in Oakland, California on gas station. I'm from the 800. So mom moved us about a Fillmore, actually to save my life. North Oakland at the time wasn't turned up how it was. Like, don't get me wrong, you know, they was getting money, and doing the thug thing and stuff like that. But my mom realized, based on my brother's passion, and my mom was there with crack hit doing. So there's pictures of the barricades when there's no gates, no fences, no nothing. You know, when people see their doors are locked. So they whole thing was,
the parking lot was open.
You feel me? Everything.
Yeah.
Fillmore was a family. Black San Francisco was a family.
Yeah.
So when mom moved us to the town, when I returned to the city, that transition, they didn't understand. It was like, we moved you up out of here. But are you doing back in Fillmore? They don't go through. What are you doing back in the Banners? What are you doing back in the Fillmore? Don't go over here on the road.
Not with a rap.
You feel me? Don't do none of that. So they don't have an understanding of what's going on. But I'm gonna be honest with you, around 13, 14, I realized I was in financial poverty. And that triggered something in me. And I happened to be on the dope spot. I didn't know I was in the dope spot, so I'm out here in the party like auntie and uncle. I really thinking these is aunties and uncles. These not. You feel me? And to this day, I had a conversation with my auntie. She was like, "Oh, what made you go to the streets?" And blah, blah, blah. This is years later. I was like, "Man, I wasn't getting what I wanted to get. I was wearing some conies with Jay. Like I went from a size 6 to a 7, and you know once you get to 7.5,
That's a man's side.
come on. Just back when ceremony had copas. You feel me? Then come on, man. You already know athletes foot and all that. So I go in here now. I'm keeping the fuck with you. I'm feeling phony. Mom put me with the cones. I'm going to Oxford Street getting the Wallabies, 2 for 100, all that type of shit. It's cool. When I'm seeing niggas having J's on me,
Come on.
Oh, watch out now.
Alright, y'all. I'm up here, you know what I'm saying? Thank you, San Quinn and Wayne Hayes, for having me up here, you know what I mean?
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So you can follow me on IG, KJ Focus. That's where I like post all my other stuff and everything. So you got any videos you want to tag me in? Tag me on IG, KJ Focus.
Quarter ounce nights. Me and Quinn was just talking about quarter ounce nights.
Yeah.
What that's a reference to is the price of the shoot. I think they was going for 140 to 175. That was how much the shoes was costing, and that's how much quarter ounces was going for at that time. So if you was hustling in the streets and you can afford a quarter ounce, then you would hustle and double up, get them Nikes, and go get you another quarter ounce and do it again.
For sure.
I would throw you a quarter ounce.
All the time. Back then, that was a part of the attire. Back then, jean fits was booming and shit like that. I believe everybody used to wear
Rocker wears.
one pants leg up, the radios, the cutters, all of that was a part of city.
Jabos.
Oh, that's a huge part of San Francisco culture.
Yeah.
In the city, you got some bows on, you got some quarter ounce nights and shit like that. That was essential.
Yeah, Pico.
And
I
that's
like
talking
that you got on right here. What is it, Bill?
Yeah,
this is fresh. You feel fresh all the time.
All right, so obviously at this time you off the porch, you hustling, you pre-high school, right?
Ninth grade, going to ninth grade.
Going to ninth grade. So, what does your life start looking like around that time? In terms of you've incorporated hustling in it, you've deactivated the Honduran side for the most part.
That after like age 7, 8, unless you was on my paternal side, I never even really talked about it. Or when you're in class, they gonna ask you your name, and then they gonna ask you where your name come from.
Right.
But culturally, yeah, I was still in contact. But once I made that transition to the streets, it's like 3 or 4 years. You don't see me in my family gathers on my side, mom or dad's side, and I didn't realize that till I got older. Right. Yeah, there's no pictures of me doing that era except girls who had like Polaroid cameras taking pictures of us outside.
Right.
So that transition, I went from utilizing, being an honor roll student, being back then they had a program called like the GATE program, gifted students and stuff like that. So all of that kind of like I attempted to apply it to the streets, but the streets is a whole another realm. So I think no matter how smart you are, you're not smarter than what's going on out there. You feel me? So
it's a different kind of smart.
My appearance changed. I go from no gold teeth to I got 8 at the top, 8 at the bottom. I'm 13. I'm starting to clip cars. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything that the men that I observed doing, I began to do. It hit me like 13, 14, 15, 16. So I feel like that put like 20 years on me because I became extremely mature. I was already studying entrepreneurship. My father's an entrepreneur. And I'm like, damn, what am I going to do long term?
When you say he was an entrepreneur, what did that look like?
My father is one of the first to open up a mini mart in Honduras. So back then, before Walmart had actually, I would say, went global, this is the late 90s. My father had already had that vision. And now it's normal to go to Honduras and see it, but in a town called Limon, which the majority of Venezuelan people are from on my paternal side, Pots set up shop. So it was a one-stop spot. You can get your furniture, you can get a bike, you can get everything as far as food, everything that you can think of for the house. If you need a wire for the home, dishwasher, so whatever you can think of was there.
Okay. I just wanted you to give us that so we can frame how you are developing, because all of these things are important. That's why, Quinn, we always talking about me being an entrepreneur. I'm always snatching my kids when maybe I have a client, somebody is renting a space. I want them to come work, set up, watch them, tell the people don't do that, clean up at the end so that they can have some ownership value or some ownership pride in it, or just the notion of me not waking up and doing the 9 to 5.
Yeah, to be transparent, my parents met in college, New College in San Francisco. Pops ended up graduating from San Francisco State. Mom graduated from College in San Francisco, and my mother was a child care provider. So entrepreneurship early on is all I seen. I didn't wake up seeing my parents work for other people.
Excellent.
So I never wanted a job. Like I always wanted to work for myself.
That's big.
Okay. Now you taken us and you kind of spoke on how the transition affected you and culturally. When did that transition affect you negatively?
Oh man, early 2000s in the Bay Area. I think nationwide the kind of fighting went out the window, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up, a fist fight was normal. You may get jumped depending on where you at, shit like that, but you need to talk about it. Once Cash Money came out, really like 400 Degrees, guerrilla warfare.
Head busting.
Yeah, it was
You
just
got talking about that head busting.
Yeah,
It got ugly too.
it just negatively, man. I just realized that the money came with something that you was going to protect, right? And I think we all know what it's like to be on the winning side, but what happened when you losing? Everybody outside, then somebody get killed. You know what I'm saying? Somebody get locked up. I ain't talking about the juvenile fees. Occasionally somebody get the juvenile life, whatever the case may be. But I'm talking about what you talking about, the L's that sometimes is permanent. I would say about 18, 19, I just remember my mom talking to me prior to, like, this shit is serious. That naivety that comes with being a teenager, like this invincibility complex. Oh yeah, man, no, can't nobody touch me, can't nobody do nothing. That was the mentality. And then shit changed when people started getting killed in the neighborhood.
And that's what happened when how'd you get your
the patch.
Your back.
So that was
no, I don't
got no problem with a bandit who getting shot up, losing them up. You know what I'm saying? And I had just got out of jail. Well, I got out of house arrest for being in jail for shooting somebody up, right? I was able to play it out to a lesser. Free Mackey, he was my coach at Fillmore at the time.
Free Mackey, man.
He was solid as he should have been. And I just remember that day. Gave like 2 dudes some passes, and it was like 1 or 2 in the morning because the store was closed right there on Hayes. And I don't eat fast food. So I even go to Burger King. I'm real thirsty. At the time, Smooth was like, in the house, water in the house. But Mama Smooth pressed some salt on it. I don't want to wake her up and shit like that. Going in the freezer, getting out the ice. I'm just being respectful. That's what it matters and all that stuff. Cause like, man, she on the second floor, man, she not gonna hear you. I get in the car with them, and then, you feel me, random shooting happened and shit like that. I happened to get hit.
Thank God you was
Oh
all right.
yeah, for sure.
Was this, you caught some time, right?
Prior to that, yeah.
Oh, prior
just
to that.
Just a little bit of time.
Oh,
so that shit was on the news and whatnot at the time. We funking with whoever we funking with. That person get caught. You feel me, slipping and shit. I'm in jail for it. But the time that I did end up doing, that's when Griffin put a bullshit case on me. That's a year. That's like 5 years down the line. I'm like, damn, I do more time for something I didn't do than something I did do. Right. You know what I'm saying?
You went to the feds?
Yeah, I was in the feds for 3 years.
All right. So you come home and you reinvented yourself?
Definitely. 100%.
What did that look like?
I understood the power of manifestation. Back then it was Gunna. Everybody knows Gunna is 2 million in name. He was for the lots of other dudes. And at the time when this dude from Atlanta was going to take off, and I was like, all right. He hadn't gone to where he was at, so I'm like, that's cool. Every day, all equal. I'm still with Gunna. But I went from headshot committee to here saying I'll change records, right? So I get out, everybody on the block, all right, just move for the dude. The street shit, we don't got to speak on that. How we going to take it to the next level? We already seen GLP do what they did. We already see WBO do what they did. Nationwide level, we seen that front. We seen Bad Boy. we seen them do it. We seen Cash Money. Music has always been a part of what we got going on. Because I can't go to class with you until you get a degree. I can't go with you until you get a trade. I can put a microphone in your hand, my nigga, and say you feel make some money. You feel me?
Yeah.
So we get to I get out. A lot of the game that I gave people from the block, they had utilized. You feel me? And that's why it's always perfect timing and maybe you feel me a blessing on that line. But once I was released, Instagram hit. So that 3 years before I was there, I wasn't on Instagram. So when I got out, I was like, okay. Like followers meant something to somebody. It wasn't so much about the talent. It wasn't so much about the vision. I just seen a lot of people focus on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So once that happened, the artists in Atlanta ended up taking off who had the same name as me. And then I had the Gunna Goes Love. I said, we're going to manifest.
Oh yeah, dude, named Gunna.
Yeah.
I don't never think about him when I think about you.
Because you know the original.
Come on,
What time is it?
you right? Man, I swear I don't.
05? How did you get involved with acting?
I'll be honest with you. My parents made an acting class. So the first acting gig I ever had was Joe Turner's Coming On. I don't even remember what year that was. And then I was actually a few movies I got to ask my mom the name of the movies was. But fast forward, an artist, young man by the name of Stunner Man on 2.
Stunner Man, shout out to Stunner Man.
He grew up listening to my music. And at the time, it was a dude named Joe Talbot, along with Jimmy Phillips. That was doing a movie called Black in San Francisco. And he was like, well, if y'all gonna do a movie about the city, y'all gotta have Gunna. That's how I ended up getting that role. That movie. Super player.
I was in that movie too, man.
I seen your number.
You see me go right. You with me all day. You held me down.
Shout out to the directors and the producers of Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Shout out to Brad Pitt, man.
Willie Hill was in there too.
Willie Hill.
Brad Pitt was the executive producer.
Brad Pitt, money. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Danny Glover was in the thing. Tashina Arnold. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's
Mike
real
Epps.
big. So
Me, Gunner. It was me, Gunner, Mike Epps, Willie Hill, Tashina Arnold. You know the rest.
yeah,
Stunner Man.
Absolutely.
And our boy from Sunnydale.
Oh,
10 million.
shout out to Jamal.
Oh, 10 million.
Yeah, 10 million. My bad, man. That's my brother.
Yeah, good brother.
How would you? I'm on my misconception question.
Oh, good.
Give me one misconception people may have of you.
That I'm on everybody's line, and when they see me, I'm a super bad person, shot, killed everybody, and all this type of shit. Like people take my name, they take where I'm from, and they take they take situations where there's no context, and then they blank me. I'm not coming to play you. I'm not coming to do nothing to you. I don't got no problem with you. I mean, I was raised in a respectful manner. I'm a good dude. I'm not a nice, friendly ass nigga. That's by no means. But we're gonna do good business. I ain't never took $1 from nobody. I ain't never took advantage of no woman, no children. I never took no elders, no nothing like that. So what happens is a lot of these suckers, a lot of these marks get in positions or places, and then they speak down on my name without context and make it seem like I'm just a maliciously violent person, and that's not the case at all.
Well, I'm glad you was able to get that out because sometimes people might not be
Aware?
Yeah, aware or solid enough to want to have this conversation. They might just say,
you're the first person that ever asked me that question, so I can't wait to share this clip with it.
Yeah, and I like how you put nice. I'm a good dude, but I'm not nice.
Right.
And I think that's a misconception people might have of me, that I'm nice.
Me too. I'm not. No. I'm a good person.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't treat you like you treat me.
And I have core values.
Yeah.
GLD, that's the foundation of every single thing. Respect, core values when it comes to the neighborhood that I come up in. I come up under parents, players, max, head busters, and all that. But I didn't see them dudes move in a malicious way. Now some dudes do, and they end up got their issues. There's some good dudes that got their issues too, unfortunately. But for the most part, coming up in the city, I'm saying the entire city, it's a militant place.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to see some outstanding stand-up brothers that have laid the foundation. So I come up under that tutelage. I don't come up under the calling niggas bitches.
No.
You know what I mean?
Or calling each other bitches.
Yeah,
we don't play that in Fillmore.
I
don't be no bitch.
I don't come up under all the weird antics that niggas be doing online for attention. You feel me? Go against their partner.
in the interest of time, please let our viewers know social medias. That way they can find your music. Because he's multifaceted.
We talk to this nigga all day.
Yeah, he's
Mm-hmm.
multifaceted.
Mm-hmm.
Philanthropist, community organizer, recording artist, actor,
Father,
entrepreneur. Let them know your socials. That way they can do their homework.
Gunna goes global, you understand me? I'm anointed, not appointed. You feel me? The chosen. Straight up. We're in the building, 100 million records. Shout out to the Knights and Queen. Shout out to Brother Hayes. You know what I mean? Brother Wayne. I apologize. You understand me? But we in here, man.
that's who he is, Brother Hayes.
We out, man.
Brother
Hayes. I like that.
Brother Hayes. I forgot the Wayne.
Or Honest Bob. You can research both.
Don't pull him off the show.
Peace, y'all. We out.
That should still continue, man.
Yeah.